Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and so we're pleased to have back in the studio with us today one of our favorites, Brigitte Blazes. She is the executive director of Wahupa Educational Services. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, first of all, shout out to you. Thank you so much for helping us with one of our favorite groups, the Classroom of the Future Foundation. You've been shoulder to shoulder. And I remember when I first met you, you did an interview, of course, about your organization, and then shortly came into a retirement party. I think you were 8 months and 29 days pregnant. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you deliver the next day?
I did work that Friday, and then that Friday, about an hour later, I went into labor. Yes.
And now your little kiddo is obviously
that is a testament to who you are. Really.
Oh my goodness, she was wonderful. Is a year and 2 months old, something like that.
Yeah, 13 months.
And 13 months old. Brought to the event. Of course, yeah. Thank you for helping us out at SeaWorld as well. I take it everyone's doing fine in the family.
Yes, everyone is healthy, and we're enjoying. He just started to walk, so it's been amazing watching him take a couple steps.
Can I just tell you right now, your life's over. Because then it goes from walk. Sometimes it goes from crawl to sprint and then walk. So that's good. Joined by my associate producer, Brandon Joe. He's also an entrepreneur. He's an incoming senior at UCSD. We're thrilled to have him in Spotlight on the community. And you worked with Brigitte at our event, did you not?
Yeah. Chatted with her. I saw the little baby. Adorable, first of all. And I'm so glad that you were able to join us on that day.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about the mission of Wahupa.
Yeah, so Wahupa was established in 1973, and we are fully funded with the Department of Education. We support students to help them pursue a career pathway. So we support them in high school, help them pick out a career. We support them in tutoring for the A through G coursework. We take them on field trips and community events to really start to get to know themselves, their identity, and work through any things that they're going through in high school.
Right. Now, do you work with all high schools? Is it a certain population in high school, or anyone who's in a high school fits?
No, so it is a certain population. So it specifies low income and first generation students.
Okay, great. Exactly. But at any of those high schools in the county, correct?
Yes.
Right, exactly. And with that, you guys have been around since 73, as you mentioned. So that's 52 years, if I'm doing the math right, in this area. Do you have a lot of the folks that you've worked with come back and work with you or volunteer because of the success they had working with you folks?
Oh, yes, that's a great question. We do. So we have a couple people on staff who have been part of Wahupa. So shout out to Eddie. He's with our Upward Bound program. And then we also have a board member, Renee, shout out to him as well. And he was part of our Wahupa Upward Bound.
No, I think that's terrific. And as you know, Brandon, we talk about this quite a bit. It's in our wheelhouse at Spotlight on the community show and Cloudcast is anytime we can help with an organization that is giving students an opportunity to even find out what is out there is critical. How do you do that? And how do you get the students to say, these are the types of jobs that are out there?
Yeah, so we partner with other nonprofits throughout the area. In addition to, we work with community colleges a lot on what they have to offer. So Southwestern is a great example. They have a brand new, awesome campus. And we see what career pathways the student might be interested, talk to the student about that, and then go online, do some research on specifically what community colleges matches their set of interests.
Yeah, Brennan?
From all of these different professional organizations you've been talking to, what have you been hearing through the grapevines of these most interesting job opportunities that these students should be looking at right now?
Yeah, right now is a very interesting time. So with the current administration, there's lots of changes going on. So it's really important that students are well informed. Some of the changes that are going on are with our financial aid.
Right.
So lots of different policies coming out, and students really need to make sure that they pick a career that they will stick to, because college is a lot of money. We want to make sure we sign them up for the classes that they're interested in, and being able to go from one area back to another area would really be detrimental to that financial aid piece.
Right. Do you work with interest surveys like at the Holland Score or RISEC at all? Are you familiar with that?
I am not.
So the groups that we work with, Journey's Map with Peter Sibley, you might have met Peter before, the Cajon Valley School District. They do an interest survey, Chula Vista Elementary School District, where they give a survey and, things that the kids are interested in at any age, and it'll change, and they get a score, so to be, is it realistic? Are they artistic? Are they scientific? Whatever the case. And it could change from 2 weeks to, to 2 years down the road on this. And the reason why they do that is, let us talk about at this point of your life, whether you're in 3rd grade or 6th grade or 12th grade, you have an interest in X. Here's some careers that fit that. Now, in 2 years, it may have a totally different aspect of it. So it's something you might want to look into.
Yeah, that's a excellent point, because right now we do just focus on 9th through 12th graders, and then we have one program that does serve adults, but it really does need to go down to that elementary school level.
Exactly. And, we all know this. We've known this since we were walking upright. Brandon and I talk about it quite a bit on the show. When somebody is engaged in something they're interested in, it is amazing how they raise their ability and their success rate, whether it's a student in 5th grade that got turned on by some historical novel, or it's someone that, wouldn't say a peep in English class, but is geeked up about science, okay? Next thing you know, they're doing, community college work in science at age 4th grade because they're interested in that aspect of it. When you work with these high schools, do the students, do you come to them? Do they come to you? Is it virtual? How does that work?
Yeah, well, during COVID, it was virtual, but we have moved to the in-person now. So we are actually located on about 24 different high schools, anywhere from Sweetwater to Vista, Fallbrook. So our staff members and counselors are located in the counseling center. And we start to recruit during open house, any freshman events that are going on, and we let them know that TRIO does exist. And what is TRIO? It's a completely free program that helps students go to college and pursue their dreams.
So how does it do that?
So it does that specifically by introducing them to things that they might not have been introduced to. So a great example is our Upward Bound program does a 6-week summer program where this year we went to Cal Poly Pomona, we took them to the Claremont colleges, and we really take them in a different environment out of San Diego County so they're able to see what else is out there. And during those events, we listen to a lecture, we do campus activities.
Is it an overnight stay deal?
It is. Wow. That's the most amazing piece of it. And typically it is in the college dorm rooms. Oh, so nice. They really get that college experience.
Right, exactly. And I think what's important about that is when they go to college, if indeed they do, they're going to have that experience. I know how to do these things. Go ahead, Brandon. Oh, you didn't have a question? Okay. Brandon faked by raising his hand. And in this aspect, we're chatting with Brigitte Blazes. She is the Executive Director of the Wahupa Educational Services. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 19th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, doing great things for 60 years plus in this region, whether it's food insecurity, whether it's financial education, arts, science, homelessness. They're heavily involved in those things. What would you say, you sort of alluded to it earlier, Brigitte, is the challenge now with some of the funding that would come your way? Or is there a big challenge with that?
Yeah, great question. Unfortunately, they are looking at possibly dismantling the U.S. Department of Education. So Wahupa is fully funded through that U.S. Department of Education. So part of that would mean that TRIO might go away. So it's really urgent for people in the sector, for students specifically, to reach out to their Congress members and let them know how important TRIO is. It really does have not only the data to back it up, but that personal experience. So I do urge every single person to support TRIO, to reach out, because that's the only way that we will be able to sustain our funding.
Yeah, and are you working out yourself personally with our congressmen and women, Sarah Jacobs or Scott Peters and so forth?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And that's really the way to do that. And we know there's just so much opportunity for those kids. We were just chatting with our friends from the Birch Aquarium at Scripps Institution of Oceanography, and Megan Dickerson, the director of exhibits, was just sharing with Brandon and myself this group that came in from Coachella Valley that had never been to the ocean. And I imagine with the ones you're working with, those populations, the same thing. Many have never been to maybe Balboa Park, or they've never been to a game. Talk about that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's exactly what our Wahupa does. We support these students to be able to have opportunities that they would not have had. And we go to Balboa Park. We take them to those museums. We take them when they do the tutoring classes. Let's say they get an A and they attended those Saturday sessions of beach cleanup. We would take them and award them through maybe going to an amusement park. So really incentivizing, letting the kids know, hey, you can do it. You are able to make a difference in this community, and opening up doors for them. So introducing them to a variety of different nonprofits, important people, professors from those universities. Another really great aspect of TRIO is you do get an extra point on your application if you have been in TRIO for the UC system. So these things are really important as we slowly close that gap for some of these low-income first-generation students, because their parents don't know exactly how to apply. Where do I start? The information is so complicated. So we want to make sure that we set them up for that success through talking to them on a weekly basis, and guiding them through any challenges that they might have had.
You brought up something that's near and dear to Brandon's heart, and we've been bragging about him ever since he started joining our show, because he's no one better than doing this than him. We're going to sort of tease our audience a little bit. We'll come back from break. He's going to share that, but it ties to the connections you're talking about as we are chatting with Brigitte Blazes. She is the executive director of Wahupa Educational Services. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media. You're listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg with Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, nation's longest-running community podcast. We're in our 19th year, brought to you by the fine folks of Mission Fed Credit Union. More than 6 decades of doing great things in San Diego County. So pleased to have in the studio with us today, Brigitte Blazes. She is the Executive Director and CEO of Wahupa Educational Services, joined by my Associate Producer of the Spotlight on the Community Show, frequent co-host, and incoming senior at UCSD. But Brandon, we were talking about connections. You're the poster child.
My ears.
You are the poster child for a young person that knows how important connections is.
I mean,
talk about that.
It changes everything. From how I got onto the show to all of the sort of recently, like meeting the president of a bank and helping him with generative AI, like all of these random little things just come off from meeting these people. And so when I hear these students have the opportunities to meet professors, to meet people in different career spaces, that's how you learn about these spaces so quickly. My favorite keyword is offer to help. Keyword, more like concepts. It's offer to help as a student, because when you offer to help, you're not really asking for something, you're providing something. And at the same time, the thing you get back is you get to learn a little bit more about that space. If they have something that you can do, small, big, anything, as you continually get involved. I'm just curious, for some of these students that you've introduced to, like professors and career men and women that are in San Diego, what's a cool thing that popped out of existence? Maybe you could tell to emphasize that this works.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is exactly what you said, the connections, right? That's what human beings are really here on the planet for, is making those connections with one another, building those partnerships, and making that impact. So one really great example that immediately came to mind was we had a junior, and they went to all these different colleges. They participated in our Upward Bound summer program, got to see all the colleges, and met one of the professors at the college, and then actually took that professor's class when they went to that school. So I think being able to make those connections immediately, the students are able to form those partnerships, those connections, and the professor absolutely loved the student. I don't know what grade that student got in that professor's class still, though. But being able to collaborate together, make that difference. The student was so excited. They actually called me as the ED and told me about this experience. So I love hearing the student's voice too. So I do also encourage students to call the Wahupa office. Let us know about your experience. It's really important to be able to just share how awesome Wahupa is.
When you look at, and Brandon's a poster child for this, actually, from the time he came in hitting the ground running, he was a guest on the show, Spotlight show, and the next thing you know, he's running half the damn Cloudcast and doing it very, very well. But he'll say to this, all of it started with these connections. And certainly the Spotlight show is a little unique because we have C-level type people on the show where he doesn't have to start at the bottom. He's actually dealing with somebody who's at the top, paying president or whatever the case may be. But again, to emphasize how important it is for the students to know that relationships are the key to everything, because a lot of them don't understand that.
Yeah, I think in general, they really do care about, being able to make a difference in the community. But what I do want to emphasize is when you make that difference and you make those connections, you really do get something in return when you help too. So when these executive directors or CEOs or presidents are helping these sorts of students, they actually get a lot in return as well, because
huge.
You have that feeling of gratitude and seeing that person be successful. So for the students, I think it's really important to be able to reach out, put yourself out there. There is no such thing as failure in this line of work. So it's just trial and error, and making sure that you try a variety of different things, because you might not know exactly what you want to do. And a lot of the students, Southwestern, for example, they just came out with their astrology astronomy department.
It could have been one or the other, right?
Yeah. And it's this huge building. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. Mark showed it to me when we did the tour. And there's a whole bunch of stars. They have this huge telescope. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the students are going to love it.
Yeah, exactly. It probably is astronomy.
Yeah.
But you bring up something, and Bran would be able to chat with this, and you're right on. Those CEOs, those C-level executive director types love to have the engagement with the students. And most kids would go, oh, why would that person care about me? I said, they love this type of stuff. That's the biggest misnomer, as they don't. I think as Brandon has seen the enthusiasm, that we, certainly hit off the ground with Brandon, but the people he's met with, the example I love talking about, and maybe he can address it as well, that sort of ties into your wheelhouse. One of our longtime closest friends, mine personally, is Angela Bass. Angela was an assistant superintendent, just retired for the 5th time at San Diego.
She'll never get out.
She'll never get out. At the San Diego County Office of Education, she was in charge of leadership and learning. So Brandon was co-hosting the show and did his typical great job, and she was so impressed. And Brandon did what he does. He said, I'd love to connect with you and pick your brain on X, Y, and Z. Talk about the story.
I mean, it's just started off from there. I talked with her, picked her brain. We sat down for lunch. We sat down for lunch again. I ended up eating with her family for her husband's birthday. That was funny. But it just develops into a lot more than just let me know and let me pick your brain for these sorts of things. It becomes a true, deeper relationship. And the thing that I love most is just being able to talk to someone with a lot more experience. The intergenerational connections you can make with people, it's something that can change your life. Just the way that I'm able to speak now, I'll contribute all to other people that have been smarter than me, that have more experience than me. I get premonitions of things that I should be doing while I'm young and that they think that they should have been doing. And while I admit a lot of the lessons go right over my head at the beginning, but it helps it click when it happens. Like, for example, a lot of people have been telling me, you gotta go study abroad. This is your one time as a younger person. You don't have any kids. You don't got a job. Well, actually, I do have a job, but you don't have like a full-time job that you need to make sure that you get your house payments on. And that, I was very nervous about that for a while. I was like, this is a lot of money. I don't know if it's going to be worth it. But after going, I understand. I understand now. And so these sorts of lessons help encourage me to do the right thing at the right time that many other people didn't have the opportunity to do so.
Right. And, and those are the things that you're talking about when you're introducing the Wahupa Educational Services students, so to speak, to those folks. It's just absolutely spot on. Brigitte, what can we do to support your organization? Donate, volunteer, contribute. Which one of those? All of them?
Yeah, great question. So the first thing that I would highly recommend is contact your Congress people. So right now, TRIO is under attack. And if TRIO is completely eliminated, Wahupa would go to with that. So it is extremely important to contact your Congress people. Let them know how impactful Wahupa is, but not only Wahupa, Talent Search, Upward Bound, EOC, SSS, all of these TRIO programs and what impact it has on the student itself, but also on the entire community.
Right. Is that a message that's getting to the parents as well, do you think, or needs to be as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And you're right. And if people don't think that makes a difference, well, I'm only one out of 320 million people that live here. You're wrong. A huge surge of people that say, this is what Wahupa has done for our family, our kids, my niece, my nephew. It's just too valuable. These are lifelong positive things because of that relationship the person had with that professor, whether the kid got a C in the class or not. Who knows? Maybe there was a job opening and that professor's buddy is running a company, is going to get that job. Brigitte, always great to see you. Shout out your website one more time.
It's Wahupa
So maybe next time you come on, why don't you, without trying to break any laws here, bring in somebody who's benefited? Can you bring in a couple of students if possible, or teachers or parents or whatever that have certainly benefited from what you've done?
Yes, I definitely think that's a great idea.
Yeah, let's make sure that happens. Always good to see you, Brigitte Blazes. She is the executive director and CEO of Wahupa Educational Services. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show. We are the nation's longest-running community podcast in our 19th year, brought to you by the fine folks at Mission Fed Credit Union. 6 decades of doing great things in our community. And to our listeners, we hope you enjoyed the interview.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.